Good evening. It is Tuesday, June 28th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post. Live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg. I got four of my fellas with me, almost a full crew. We got J3 in the building. What's going on, partner? How you feeling?
What's going on, Big Reg? What's up, Professor J, Ed, and Sense? What's happening, fellas?
J3, nice
What's
to see you.
going on, J3?
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
The professor is in the building. How you feeling this evening, Professor?
What's going on, everybody? I feel like I'm on cloud nine. Got some great things going on just in my life, but I'm glad to see you guys tonight, ready to get this sports. Praise the Lord.
Amen. Amen.
Absolutely. And yes, you do got some great things happening in your life, and we happy for you.
Yes, sir.
Sense is in the building. What's going on, partner? How you feeling?
Feeling a little down. I ain't gonna lie, but in the words of Russ in this video, you won't break my soul. So, feeling good, feeling great, feeling good to be talking sports with you guys. Let's go.
And last but not least, my brother Ed. What's going on, partner?
Hey man, it's always great to see my guys, man. And I always look forward to Tuesday night. So let's do this.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
This evening, the show is going to be pretty streamlined. We're going to do an extended quick hits because we got some things we need to touch on. But then we're going to get into the NBA draft and free agency because some crazy things going on in the league. The professor's going to bless us this week with some takes. It's been a minute, so we're going to get us some post takes. And, of course, we're going to give you our final post of the evening. So, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Please sit back, relax, enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. All right, starting off in the quick hits. We gave praise to the Oklahoma Sooner Lady Sooners, so we got to shout out the Ole Miss Rebel men's baseball team for winning the College World Series. Not only did they win the College Baseball World Series, but they prevented the University of Oklahoma from becoming the first program ever to win both the women's softball and men's baseball championship in the same year. So hats off to Ole Miss. And as some say in the SEC, it just matters more. Just saying. Speaking of college, the biggest college recruit in recent memory, a.k.a. Mr. Arch Manning, and yes, of the Manning family, made his selection on where he's going to attend college after his senior year coming up this year. He signed his letter of intent to attend the University of Texas. Now, not only was that a huge signing, his announcement has already had ripple effects. Yesterday, they had 2 5-star recruits sign letters of intent to go to Texas, and both of them said they decided to go to Texas because Arch Manning had declared.
Wow.
Okay.
Instant impact.
And you know his uncles are going to be supporting him, so they're going to bring their big names and gravitas to the University of Texas program. So if Sark can hold on to his job for another year and a half, he going to have a chance to really do some big things. But as we know, they don't play down there in Texas. So if he has another four-loss season this year, he might not be able to reap the benefits.
Now I can okay. As far as what you just mentioned, Big Reg, as far as him not reaping the benefits, I think they're going to give him an opportunity because the game, 2 things have changed the game of college sports, particularly college football, like no other. Obviously, the NIL has definitely totally changed the way players decide on where to go.
Yep.
And number 2 is the transfer, the updated transfer rules, aka also known as the transfer portal. So he has to be Texas administration has to be careful of who they hire and fire, because if he came there based on being coached and tutored and mentored by Sarkisian, then you got to be careful because just as easy as he signed to come to Texas, he could leave Texas. And I don't want to minimize his impact as far as you mentioned a couple 5-star recruits jumped on board because as I just mentioned a couple seconds ago, the NIL, the game is being played with that and the money's being offered to these 5-star and 4-star recruits. I think that has more impact than who actually signs with that particular team. That's just my opinion, of course, but we don't know what type of money these kids are being offered. I've heard upwards of $2 million plus just to get a 5-star quarterback in. Next in the line is the edge rushers. But Texas, we all know, or if we don't know, if our audience doesn't know, they're the richest university in America after Harvard. They're the richest public university in America. So their money is unlimited. So we'll see how he does. I'm a big fan of Sarkisian. I appreciate his contributions to the great University of Alabama. So I hope he does well.
But do you think Manning going to Texas, money was an issue for him?
Based
I don't think so.
What the family says,
right?
Based on what the family says, they didn't accept any money up front. They wanted Arch just to select the school that he wanted to go to. They don't need the money.
Right.
Exactly.
So I don't think the money necessarily was important, but I do believe that whatever they worked out, not that he wasn't already set for life, but now he's definitely set for life in his own right.
And let's be honest, like college football is a whole lot better when Texas is relevant. So this was a great move on, great move for them. And hook 'em horns.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey would certainly feel that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Arch did say that his relationship with Sark, which started when Sark was the offense coordinator at Bama, and seeing what Sark did with the quarterbacks at Alabama was kind of the final thing that pushed him over the top. To be able to play in that system with Sark will help him get to the next level because it's all about him getting to the NFL.
And never forget, Big Reg, to all the University of Alabama fans out there right now, is they would never have Bryce Young if it hadn't been for Sarkisian. Sarkisian pulled him. He was a hard commit to University of Southern California. Sarkisian used his connections with the Southern California fan base. And when he flew to California, got him to come to Alabama to do a visit, and the rest is history. So Sarkisian is responsible for Bryce Young being at the University of Alabama right now. So
with a chip.
Yeah.
With a chip.
Yeah, so on a much sadder note, there was a procedural hearing yesterday in Russia. The Russian courts have set Friday, July 1st as the start of the trial for WNBA star and U.S. citizen Brittany Griner on her supposed drug trafficking trial, which is amazing to me. But what's been bandied around in some articles that I've read, it seems like as far as foreign relations go, because everybody's pushing to have quote unquote prisoner exchange or exchange of people to get Brittany out of Russia. Per Russia's law, whatever, a person has to be convicted and actually be a prisoner before they even consider an exchange. Wow. So to make a long story short, when this trial starts Friday, be prepared for Griner to get convicted. And the question is how many years they're going to give her. The sentences can go up to 10 years.
Right.
But what's interesting, Big Reg, about this whole Brittany Griner thing as far as okay, first off, marijuana is illegal in Russia. But the amount determines what type of penalty you get. So I believe up until 6 grams of weed in Russia, is like an administrative offense. So basically, you serve maybe a couple weeks for that, a few weeks. Anything over that, then you're talking about a different type of judgment. But with Griner, with her having this, I believe it was a vape or
pen.
oil,
Yeah,
a
yes.
type of oil.
Hashish oil
Yeah,
is what they're
hashish
saying
oil.
she had.
Okay, so with that and how the law relates to foreign, foreigners, I have no idea. I'm not an attorney. I haven't followed the case that closely, but I just think it's going to be a while, man. I just don't see her getting out anytime soon.
They're using her as a pawn.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's a power move by Russia to like,
Which
A,
goes
B.
back to my original argument. Why was she going over there? I understand she plays professional ball and all of that, but all of this stuff was popping off well before, her league year started. And I just think that just a thought in the head, maybe I shouldn't put myself in this position. I mean, Ed, do you know how many ounces she had? Like, what's the charge? Is it over that amount?
I can't say that, Professor, but to your point, and you make a great point, which is my point. I don't necessarily think she shouldn't have went over there, but whenever you visit a foreign land, you have to be on point because you're a guest.
You gotta know their laws.
No matter what, you're a guest. So there's no need to bring anything that you can't openly display or what have you. It's just not advisable. Like, it's just not, whenever you're in someone's house, you act according to their rules. And if you deviate, well, you have to suffer the consequences, no matter if it's political, sad, or what. It's just the way you have to conduct yourself. You have to conduct yourself at all times like a guest, a humble guest, particularly when you're in a place like Russia. And unfortunately, you know how their history with the LGBTQ plus community over there. It's not been stellar. They've locked up their own citizens for that for that lifestyle. So you just maybe she shouldn't have went over there, as you point out. But if she did decide to go over there, maybe you shouldn't have had hashish oil on your possession.
No,
and
sure
this
she
leads
was
us to the issue that we're always championing, right? Why is there such a large disparity between what NBA players or men get paid and what women get paid? Because she wouldn't have had to go overseas as a star of this league in order to make more money.
Supplement income.
You want to say it, feed your family or supplement, because she would have been paid, compensatory to what she should make in this country as a star in face of her league.
Yeah. I mean, for all the couldas and shouldas, it's the fact remains, like, for maybe just a small amount of hashish oil in a vape pen, she's now facing up to 10 years, which is ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
I'm still of the notion that I don't necessarily believe she had that on her, but what they say, she can't fight that. It's gonna be there whether she had it on her or not. But yeah, and the real sad part about it is her and her wife had just spoken. This was going to be her last year playing in Russia. And she said she was tired of traveling and tired of going over there and being away from the family. But the difference in her salary this year for Phoenix and the salary she's making in Russia, she was making over 6 times more in Russia, over $1 million.
So that's crazy.
Wow.
That's
We got to do better over here. We got to do a lot better over here.
Yeah, there's no excuse for it.
Yeah. Speaking of people with no excuse, the possibly the worst owner in professional sports, Mr. Daniel Snyder.
I think Dolan still has his beat, but go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And his attorney of record are refusing the electronic subpoena sent by the House panel that's investigating the workplace environment of the Commanders. They are literally refusing to accept this subpoena.
Danny boy think he above the law.
That's called white privilege at its
He
finest.
Trumpian.
That's white
Pulling
privilege.
a book from their president's book.
I would send some marshals. As soon as he stepped foot in this country, marshals would be going to his house, to the commander, say he gonna get that subpoena, and he gonna show up when I tell him to show up, not when it's convenient for him.
Oh, Danny boy.
So he's out. The last thing I heard was he was somewhere in the French Riviera on his yacht.
He ain't coming back no time soon.
Again, with some more bad news. The Deshaun Watson disciplinary hearing with jointly appointed disciplinary officers Sue L. Robson, who the NFL and the NFL Players Association agreed, she's a former judge, federal judge, began the hearing on what Deshaun Watson's penalty is going to be. Now, both parties had the option to negotiate an agreement, but that fell apart because based on multiple reports out there, the NFL is dead set on Watson serving at least a year, and if it's up to them, they would have an indefinite suspension until this is cleared up with a minimum of a year, and like people who've gone out in drug suspensions, he would have to apply for reinstatement based on whatever came in from these trials. And to add on to that, the Houston Texans were officially added to the first court case.
Get away from that.
So now that officially brings an NFL team into these suits, and it's supposed to be added to the other 3 remaining court cases. So
I was just about to say, this is for all 24 or just the remaining 4 cases?
Suppose it's just the remaining 4, but they may file a big
class action
against the Houston Texans because that's based on the stuff that they provided. They even have information. Not only did the Texans have their own on-staff massage therapist, they actually had a contract with the massage studio, so you could do it outside of that. Wow. And they've got the owner of the studio saying that she contacted the Texans and told them, you need to be careful because Deshaun's not using us, he's not using you, and we know for a fact he's going out on Instagram looking for people to do these things, and we've had complaints. And I know for a fact that he slept with 2 of my massage therapists. This is the owner.
Wow.
Homie need to find a new hobby, like massage.
Wow. Okay. Can we rewind for a second, though, fellas? Let's. I just don't understand this hearing. So the way they conducting these disciplinary hearings is new under the new CBA they just recently signed.
Right.
So before, where Roger Goodell was the judge, jury, and executioner, they both agreed during negotiations that they were going to have a third party, an independent disciplinary person that both the NFLPA and the NFL offices could agree, and they would actually hear, and then they would just administer or hand down the necessary punishments. But this is the problem I have, because I was like, okay, basically it's like arbitration, right? That's basically, that's all that is. You know, you go into an arbitration, you have an independent person deciding, hearing both cases, and they make a decision. But the problem I have with Judge Sue Robinson, I think that's her name. I know it's Sue. The problem I have with the former Judge Sue Robinson is that she doesn't work for the NFLPA. She's employed and paid on a 2-year term by the NFL, who is headed by figurehead anyway, Roger Goodell.
So what's that telling you?
So basically, if she says, I think it should be 10 games. I think 10 games sounds right. Roger Goodell has the power to veto that and say, I don't care what them 10 games, that looks bad on my league. I want an indefinite suspension, and his what he says ultimately goes. So why are they having this disciplinary hearing, fellas? What's the purpose if Roger Goodell has the power to to step in and say, I don't think that's enough, because she might say 8 games. We don't know.
Appearances. That's why it's for appearances.
They want to control it. They want to control the narrative. They want to control it. They want to control it.
Let's make it look like we're doing our due diligence in the whole matter, and go through these motions, knowing darn well what the end result's going to be anyway.
Then why did the NFLPA agree to have this format during negotiations for the new CBA?
Because it was better than what they had, where it was just Roger Goodell. Now at least they have somebody who could set a number for disciplinary, and if it's vastly different than what the NFL and Roger Goodell uses his veto, or as they call it, appeal power, to change it, then the NFLPA will use that further down the road.
Okay.
Here's the problem that I see with this whole thing ever since this new stuff came out. We know that the Houston Texans were complicit in his behavior. They knew, or at least some of them in the organization knew of his behavior because they helped push this type of behavior, whether they knew how deep it went or not. And then I'm not so sure, and this is why I put the comment at Big Money in Texas, because maybe they were able to get away with him not getting criminal charges, because obviously there's more than just smoke with 24 some odd allegations. And now we're seeing the process being drug out in a way where I think is also purposeful, Ed, because get this, if we got the current situation going on with Daniel Snyder, and then the NFL is eventually going to sniff at this, if they're trying to see if the Republicans can take the House, pretty much that what's going to happen with all of these allegations and things going on, they're going to end them and sweep them under the rug. What the Democrats want to do is hold the NFL accountable, and all of us, not just fans, but people in everyday society, should want every corporation in our country held accountable for wrongdoing and missteps along the way, whether it be individual or an entire corporations. This has become too politicized, where now they're muddying the waters of what's right and what's wrong, and you can know that someone has some guilt and is complicit with something, but it all seems to come down with who has the deeper pockets and who can pay for things to go away. Case in point, look at all the 24, 25 allegations. All of a sudden, 20 of them got settled after this man stood up on a podium with the Cleveland Browns and said he did nothing wrong. Now, you got defenders that say, no, that's just him saying, I just need these things to go away. But remember, he was definitive about his innocence. So why not have your day in court, especially if you're going to be kept off the football field anyway, and defend yourself like he claimed that he was going to do?
Well, number one, Professor, is that you never want your fate to be decided by a jury, if at all possible.
Exactly.
I mean, if you can avoid it, and that's just my opinion. But it's just that
if you're innocent, then why would you not push that? That's what I'm saying. So
how many innocent people have been executed or sitting in jail right now?
Exactly. And to your point, the water's being muddy. Like he probably just because it's like it's some guilt on his part, but then it's maybe
that
not.
You just made my point. That's it in the discussion. He has some guilt on his part, so therefore he's going to pay because he is not as innocent as he purported to be. That's all I'm saying.
Then one more, one more thing. So then if you know, and this is what I've always maintained from the beginning with Deshaun Watson in this case, as it started dragging on into the last season, then if you know that there is some little smoke, maybe some fire, right, with these allegations, as an attorney, as a person representing Deshaun, it's your responsibility to say, hey, we need to make this go away. Why drag it out? Now, what is that? Is that for billable hours? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask a rhetorical question. It's just so crazy. Like, why? Like, when he was the golden boy in Houston, you heard none of this going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It wasn't until he wanted out of Houston that all of a sudden this just like fell into the lap of the media and the NFL. Like, it's
Well, then he's stupid 2 times over, because if you know that the organization is covering up your dirt, then why in the world would you come out openly and speak against the organization and
Nope.
then one
That's
out and
his
think
fault.
there'll be no consequence behind it?
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
But see, and now that Houston's now in this whole lawsuit, that's karma, because now you wanted to be play dirty and be dirty, and now you getting your comeuppance. It's just
that's
crazy all around.
All right, so we will keep y'all abreast of what's happening, because I'm sure there'll be more news probably later this week. And one last point, the NFLPA is using the owners as their reason behind getting a shorter suspension, because they're saying they're using Snyder specifically and what's going on with the Commanders, Jerry Jones, and forget a third owner, and what little to nothing happened to them in their situation. So more to come.
Robert Kraft.
That's who the third person was, absolutely. On a much lighter note, and fantastic, Saturday, July 2nd, Saturday evening, UFC 276 in Las Vegas. It's the UFC's yearly International Fight Week, which is one of their 2 biggest weeks of the year. They got a massive card for you this weekend. The card is headlined by the man, Mr. Israel, Mr. Stylebender Adesanya. He's
Yes,
going to put his middleweight title up against Jared Cannonier, which should be a good fight, because Cannonier has been on a tear lately. He's won 8 fights in a row, and it's the only person at that weight class that Adesanya hasn't beaten. A lot of the guys he's already beaten twice. Then the co-main event is also a title fight, where you've got Volkanovski versus Holloway 3 for the featherweight title. And I'm here to tell you, Max Holloway won the second fight, but he didn't get the decision, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Even Dana White, they got him on tape, said Max won 4 to 5 rounds. How did they get a split decision? So this has been a bomb burner. Holloway says he wants to get his titles back. Volkanovski says I'm the best in the business. So, and he and Adesanya are part of the same fight group. Both are coming from New Zealand, Australia area. So that's a big thing. To open up the main card, you got Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
My man, yes sir,
Lunos
O'Malley
for a top 10 eliminator. That's just the main card. The prelim is stacked, so if you're into UFC, you got a great
Yes, sir.
weekend happening.
Yes, sir.
Ed, you were right, bro.
Oh man. Oh man.
Not having it.
Mm-mm.
They
They was too fast. Too
They
fast.
came back, won game 4, 3-2. Shout out to Tampa Bay. They didn't lay down. Tampa
Nope.
Bay went on the road, won game 5, to force a game 6 back in Tampa Bay. But
there's a new sheriff
Ash
in
just had a
town.
little too much
Yeah.
for him. Ended
Props
up winning
to
game
Ed.
6, 2-1 to win the first Stanley Cup in over 20 years.
Mm,
Callie
mm,
Maker was named the Conn Smythe winner, which is their version of the MVP. So shout out to the Colorado Avalanche. And as you said, Ed,
Yeah.
that speed was overwhelming.
They're gonna
He called
be, they'll be back
Yeah.
next year too. And
Yeah.
Tampa,
And you said that
Tampa-
last year too.
Tampa will be back next year too. They just not fast enough, but or deep enough. But I will say this about Tampa: they had a lot of injuries.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they to get to where they were, considering they were, for parts of the year they didn't even have their squad, and they never got healthy at the end. And normally in any sport, whoever's healthy at the end, and skill levels relatively even, they normally win. That we see
Tampa will
it.
be back though. They'll be back. The
Yeah.
blue and white will be back without a
Yeah,
doubt.
they had the better goalie in Tampa, but the defense of the Avalanche proved to be, the deciding factor,
Too much
especially in that last game, because they just kept holding them off.
Yeah. And Tampa Bay was actually dominating the first half of that game, and then that speed came, and then that third period they just couldn't keep them young boys out of the zone. 2-1 win. So shout out again to the Colorado Avalanche for winning the Stanley Cup. And if
Right.
you check on social media, you're getting all the pictures already with people doing funny things with the cup. The first picture,
Yeah, they already
waking
dented the cup too.
waking up in bed with the cup beside him.
Oh,
Another
he
one I saw
style.
today where the guy was using the Stanley Cup as his like 4-year-old daughter's sippy cup, and she was drinking out the Stanley Cup. So
Wow.
hey, you
I love
get the spoils when you win. Get to have your day with the cup. So yeah,
Love
and they did it in the
Yeah.
ceremony.
Right.
Guy trying to escape to the group and dropped it.
That John hit that ice sounding like the Taco Bell dome.
Yeah, true story.
That's some Capital style celebration. I
Yeah.
remember
Yes,
when they
sir.
first won it.
Yeah.
And lastly, we got to shout out the 50th anniversary of Title IX was last Thursday. This historic ruling put in place the guarantee for equality for women at educational institutions receiving federal funding. That's through kindergarten all the way through college. If you were getting federal funds, you had to make sure that you were equally giving women an opportunity that you were giving the men, which up until 1972 was not happening. Now, a lot of people, when they think about Title IX, the first thing that they think about is women's sports. This women's sports was just
Byproduct.
byproduct of this. This was literally to allow women into these college institutions and to be able to take courses in fields that women were not allowed to do, like engineering, science courses, and things of that sort. So this is an educational thing, but one of the byproducts was you had to start also getting women any kind of activities, clubs, and things in sports. And as we know, it still ain't equal.
Nope. Not
We
even
saw
close.
that with the NCAA championship
Oh,
over a
my
year
gosh.
ago when they showed the difference in the swag
Equipment.
bags and the
In the weight
equipment
room.
room and
Yeah,
the weight
room,
room.
all
So
of that.
it's still nowhere close to equal. But
That's tough.
this
Right.
allowed people to at least start. And we're seeing the
Yeah.
byproducts. The NBA draft, which we're going to be talking about very shortly, 3 of the top first-round draft picks were sons of WNBA players who benefited from Title IX, was able to play basketball, and then taught their sons how to play basketball, and that ain't NBA draft picks. So
Isn't that something?
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and Big Reg, just to add a little bit more, because we've got to let folks know we are students of history, in sports history in particular. Just as the civil rights legislation was a foundation for Title IX to come forth, now Title IX is going to become a foundation for transgender sports and what's going on right now in every city across the U.S. So stay tuned, because what's placed in Title IX now has opened up a door for people of all genders, transgender, whatever, for there to be an equal playing field for all of them to play sports as well. So we know the arguments that are going back and forth, but this is now a foundation of making sure that all people are able to play sports on a intramural, high level, pro level, or even Olympic level. So just want folks to really be mindful of that. No matter what side of the political aisle that you fall on, progress has to be made, and it starts with legislation such as this.
Mm-hmm.
See what you did there.
And if you're interested in seeing information about this, ESPN is putting on a fantastic
Documentary.
segments. They call it 50 for 50, honoring the 50th anniversary of Title IX, where it's all different types of shows talking about different people in Title IX. So check them out. And the NBA TV did some things and all that. So if you're interested, and being one fellow girl dads in this group, we can see how Title IX has actually been able to help our daughters go to colleges and take.
Amen.
My daughter's an attorney, graduated from Harvard Law. Before Title IX, you couldn't get into Harvard Law as a female.
Mm-hmm.
So, shout out.
True story.
All right, let's talk about the NBA, fellas. First and foremost, the NBA draft happened last Thursday. And really, the only thing that kind of was, well, there's two things that were kind of interesting to me in the draft. First was Paulo Banchero. After everybody said Jabari Smith Jr. was going to be the first pick by the Magic, Banchero from Duke ends up going #1 overall, first pick.
Shocker.
I have a
Just
way too early 2023 mock NBA draft. Picking #1, the Orlando Magic.
You ain't lying.
My bad. Go ahead, Big Red. My bad. I just had to get that in, man. Goodness.
I feel you. I feel you.
They stay
Yeah,
having
I
number
just think
ones.
they had too many body sizes similar to Jabari Smith because they got like three guys that are at least 6'9" to 7 feet currently with the Magic. None of them have any like bricks in their pockets. They all kind of thin. So Banchero's got a pro body. I think that's the reason why he ended up going #1. But that's just my thing.
Is he gonna make an impact? Is he gonna make an impact in the league? That's the question.
No, I don't think so.
I
I
mean,
wasn't
you got too
impressed
many
with him
pieces.
during the tournament.
Yeah, he was just like a flash in the pan kind of guy to me. I mean, probably just off of like the Duke name that he got as much recognition as he did.
And how many Duke players actually end up being all that in the NBA?
Man, you
That's
bring
all
to
I'm
the
gonna say.
wire over here.
The biggest enigma who could have either the biggest upside or could be the biggest bust was Gonzaga's center
Chet.
forward Chet
Oh,
Holmgren,
Chet
who
Holmgren.
ended up going
Yeah.
to #2 to Oklahoma City. Now,
Mhm.
Oklahoma City could take that risk because they had 3 first-round draft picks.
Yeah, why not?
And they got 3 next year and a couple more the year after. So
Wow.
they know they're
No,
going
yeah.
young. So they took
He
the
gonna get in
chance.
the weight room.
This is a 7'1" dude
With
with
handles.
a 7'7" wingspan
Mm.
that put Steph Curry on his butt
Mhm.
at one of Curry's camps, going behind his back, crossing
got
over
handles.
Steph Curry, then going to the hole.
Yeah, I think that
Oh,
may be
wow.
that'll be one of his strengths. Like you don't see too many big.
And
men
they
with
still didn't
handles
win the
like that.
national title.
Mm-mm.
So I mean,
It ain't just-
Oklahoma City
it's
already
a
got
game
some good
game. It ain't an
pieces.
individual game. Take more than one.
Well,
So-
all I'm saying,
Yeah, but I know,
if he this unicorn, I'm tired of that word being used. If he's this unicorn, then
But
we'll certainly
OKC
need
is
to see
building
it on the
a
next
good
level.
core down there already with Alexander and.
They need a whole lot of
I
help.
know they need a whole lot more, but
They're trying to be the next Memphis Grizzlies. We just keep stacking these young dudes and
That's hard to
keep
do.
generating them, build them, and build them, and maybe we get there. So,
Yeah, that's hard to do.
yeah, it's very hard to do. The G League continues to get people drafted from their Ignite team. Number 8, Dyson Daniels went to the Pelicans. They had 2 other guys that got drafted. One of my favorite people in the draft, Jaden Ivey, who's the son of a WNBA
Ooh.
player. Whose
Detroit had a
mother
good night.
is the head coach of Notre Dame's women's basketball team. He ended up going 5 to the Pistons. Everybody thought he was going to go to the Kings, but Keegan Murray from Iowa went to the Kings. So there's some good things going on. And I think the Wizards,
Johnny Davis.
for the 10th pick, I think they got a good selection. Johnny Davis is a little older, so you don't have to worry about him being a knucklehead. He came
You
from the
hope.
Big Ten. He played at Wisconsin. Yeah, we
That
hope.
DC line.
Yeah, we hope he don't come to DC again.
Don't
That
get
DC
immersed
line.
in that DC culture.
He get a bite of that go-go scene, and it's a wrap.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
He be
if
down to
Brandon Beal
Camelot.
throwing around some of that Knox contract money.
right. One person, no Big Red, you forgot to mention was my man out of the NBA Latin America, Benedict.
Yes,
Mathurin.
that's
He
who
went-
I
he went
wanted the
number 6.
Wizards to
Yeah.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to smoke. Apparently, challenging old LeBron there, saying that he wants to see what he made of it.
Man, LeBron is 40. Everybody wants to challenge him now.
Right.
Yeah, how about that?
Get him when he old. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a real big.
That's what they
challenge.
did with Jordan. They like, he 42. Let me,
Yeah,
let me
come on
challenge
out
you."
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. The funniest stuff of the evening, though, had to be the New York Knicks.
Oh yeah. Oh my
The New
God.
York Knicks had,
For
I think, the
nothing.
11th pick
Lord.
They traded the 11th pick. It sounded like they was trading for a player, but then they traded that player and some picks and traded that pick. So the New York
basically they
Knicks,
got
who
enough.
need all kind of help, basically all they did was collect lottery protected draft picks. So that means if they fall in the lottery, the Knicks don't get them, and they become second round picks.
Lord. All
They
for
didn't
Jalen
get a
for-
body. All they did was clear cap space, and
Jalen
supposedly that
Brunson.
cap space is for them to go after Jalen Brunson.
Which is stupid
Yo.
because it's like Stephen A.
Jalen
said,
Brunson.
you pretty much going about it collegiately. You
And they gonna
pretty
pay
much
him, too.
you hire his dad as an assistant coach. Like it's gonna be some tampering charges filed like pretty soon, I'm sure. Like to try to,
It's the Knicks, y'all. Come on, man.
Mark Cuban ain't gonna give him up without no fight. You know, how
It's
much
the
he
Knicks.
wants.
They ain't gonna do nothing.
Bernard
supposedly
King
supposedly
rolling
the-
over in his
the
grave.
owner destroying
Supposedly
the
the
storied
Mavs have
franchise.
offered him $20 million.
Knicks trying to offer him 100. I heard.
Yeah, it's at 100.
Is he that good?
He had a good
Apparently.
season. He had a good season.
You as good as what somebody willing to pay you.
That's
Right.
True. That's true.
Yeah,
That's-
100 mil.
I mean, come to the Wizards. They done paid a whole lot of people that had one good season, and they
Exactly.
maxing them out and stuff. Yeah,
Agent Zero.
Speaking of the
Right.
Wizards,
Yeah.
Right.
let's go into the players who had to decide by January 29th, tomorrow, who's going to opt into their player options or become free agents. Mr. Ex-Wizard John Wall, who got paid last year to not play,
Sit
because the
up.
Houston Rockets said, we want to develop the young people, and we don't want you out there with them. We want to give them as much time. He opted into his $47.3 million paid player option.
Amazing.
And then they end up buying him out for $40.8 million,
Man, that is crazy.
$6 million less. And you get
$6.5 million. But he's already said he's going to play for the Clippers.
Mm.
And
Ooh.
worst case scenario, he's going to sign for the Clippers mid-level exception, which is $6.5 million. So he ain't going to lose a
You're
penny.
getting money,
He's going to try to
period.
get a bigger deal, but
Ooh-wee.
at least he's going to get. So John Wall going to be making at least $47 million last year. And he's
Man,
only
John
played
Wall
40
been
games in the past 3 years.
And you know,
He been
John
pimping
Wall,
since he
yeah,
got in the league.
Yeah, he been pimping. and the good thing about John Wall, this buyout, when the numbers were announced, normally the numbers don't approach anywhere near your contract. So for him to pull 40 from the Rockets, that's a win.
That's a huge.
That's
win.
plus he got paid
Yeah.
to not play, and a lot of people say, "Well, he didn't play."
Yeah.
Well, he might not have been 100% healthy because remember he's still coming back. I don't know if he's a full year
Saw
and a
that
half yet
ACL, yeah.
from it. No, it was the Achilles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he may not even be the same player. Who knows? I don't know, but he got.
I
he got paid.
guarantee when he go out there and he see Paul George and play with Kawhi Leonard, he gonna ball out.
He gonna
Trust
ball
and believe.
out.
Well, he's not going to play with Kawhi Leonard except part time.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
I don't know, man. Hey Ed,
Yeah.
I truly believe Wall go
Ain't no
out there, man.
guarantee that Kawhi gonna play a full season.
Okay.
No, I'm not talking about Wall's availability. I'm talking about Kawhi's
Kawhi's
availability.
availability.
No, I hear what you're saying, bro. But trust me, what I tell you, you put them pieces together, man. They gonna be contenders. Watch what I tell you.
How long
They
we been
gonna be-
saying that, J3? How long
Yeah.
we been saying that? For the
All right,
past
all right.
3 years.
Ease up.
LA,
Ease up, sis.
LA is
Let's go
becoming
to
the
the other.
city of load management.
Let's go to the other team across the hall.
The Warriors?
Lakers.
The
Had,
Warriors?
You had your boy Russell Westbrook post today as he's singing to Beyonce's new song about him opting into his $47 million contract.
Hey, it was expected. It wasn't no surprise. We all knew he was going to opt in. Like,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
let's
y'all
just
got
hope
your own
Kawhi
issues
is-
y'all got to deal with. So both of
But
them
y'all
LA
know.
teams.
We gonna be all right though.
Now the rumor
Stop wearing them
is
skirts, he'd be all right.
Bradley Beal is supposed to opt out of his contract, which was supposed to pay him about $37 million. And everybody is projecting that Bradley Beal will sign a 5-year, $248 million super max contract to stay with the Wizards.
Dummy,
Mm,
like a dummy. He must not want. He must not want to win. Like he must
Not everybody's in it to win rings.
Yeah,
Right.
with
He
that bag.
cashing checks. When he's
Went that
done,
bag.
Bradley Beal will have made almost $500 million from the Wizards.
John Wall showed him the way. He's just walking
Yeah.
down that
It's
aisle.
another Dame situation too, like you said in our chat, Professor. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy in Washington. He's raising his family. He's got 2 or 3 kids now. Got the wife. Everybody good. The family in St. Louis is good. He ain't stressing.
I guess.
And he's still getting paid for losing.
Yep. And Otto Porter hoisting trophies.
Hosting trophies.
Now the two
Another ex-Wizard winning championships. How about that?
the 2 that everybody was waiting on to see what happened. One got resolved yesterday. The other one still is in limbo. Your boy Kyrie Irving got his feelings hurt yesterday.
He's a Bama. He's a straight up Bama.
Because
he
Brooklyn
is.
told him, we're not giving you a long-term contract. No. Opt in and then play enough games, and then we can have a discussion. So he said, well, I'm going to find me a sign and trade. Will you do a sign and trade? They said, y'all, go ahead. Tell your people, go out there and look out there and see what you can get. And he got his feelings hurt. So
Yeah, they still saying
not that getting $36.9 million in the bad payday for somebody that works part-time. Because you know Kyrie, if Kyrie ain't feeling it, Kyrie ain't showing up.
The only question is now, is he going, clearly we all know he may not be there for the long run after this
Of course
upcoming
not.
year.
Right.
Yeah. He going one out.
I don't think
What's
the
KD
Nets
saying
wanna
about
deal
that?
with him.
What's KD saying
KD
about
been
that?
KD
quiet.
ain't
But
saying
Stephen
nothing.
A. Smith saying a lot.
Yeah.
KD ain't saying nothing. I'm gonna let that's his decision, all that. So it'll be it. But see, they fail to realize the owner of the Nets now was not the owner when they first came. The owner of the Nets now is Joe Tsai. Joe Tsai is one of the top 10 richest men in the world. He is the primary owner of Alibaba, which is the Chinese version of Amazon.
I thought it was.
No, they're a big web-based thing that you can buy all types of goods and services on. So this guy ain't playing. He was like, I done paid this man all this money, and he sat out half the. Yeah, no.
Oh, no, we ain't doing that.
And he won 200. Yeah.
They were at a point where they were like, they didn't care if they lost KD or Kyrie. They let him go.
When you dealing with one of the richest men in the world who had to negotiate in order to be able to become that man in China, because you talk about hard negotiations, so he wasn't playing games with Kyrie. So we still got to figure out what's going to happen with James Harden. Is James Harden going to be the next one to opt into that $47 million player option?
Yes.
He ain't got no choice.
He ain't got
Yeah,
no
right.
choice.
Where you gonna go?
He ain't going nowhere. Nobody
But
wants that.
supposedly him and the 76ers supposedly possibly working on a short-term extension, maybe a 1-and-1 where they can control the narrative a little bit. But it's going to be interesting. And just for you, Professor, your boy Bobby Portis has to decide if he's going to opt into his $4.5 million option or if he's going to try free agency this year.
He better
If he's
stay
smart,
there.
yeah, he gonna stay if he's smart, and I think he is.
He'll try free agency like PJ. PJ opted out. So
But Bobby has made money. He's bounced around. He needs to stay where he can get a championship at this point. I mean, if it's important to him.
Because he's been in the league for how many years now?
a long
At
time.
least 10.
I think he's been in 10 or 11 years. So, yeah. Speaking of free agency, the quote-unquote legal tampering, which is the stupidest name I can think about, starts 6 p.m. Thursday, and officially the legal tampering starts July 1st. So from July 1st through July 7th, players and teams and their representatives can discuss parameters of deals, can agree upon deals, but they can't become official until July 8th when the NBA is supposed to release what the 2022-23 salary cap is and the max player figures. So starting Thursday, you're going to hear a whole lot of information about
Agreeing
who's
to
going
term-
where, what free agents are going there, the big names out there. Supposedly, John Wall is getting a lot of people calling his representative saying, hey, before you sign with the Clippers, we might be
Right.
able to pay you some more money. What's Harden going to do? What's Bill going to do? the big fish that they don't think is tied down is your boy Zach LaVine.
He needs to stay in Chicago.
Come to
Will
LA.
he stay in Chicago or will he try to go to greener pastures? What's going to happen with DeAndre Ayton?
He out. And let me
Go ahead.
And let me tell you why he's out. Because Phoenix was dumb to not give him that extension then. So now he pretty much pissed off. Like I did all this for y'all. Like I feel disrespected. So just to spite them, I think he's gonna try to sign with another.
But
And
since
plus,
all they
Phoenix window is closed. It's gone.
yeah, and all since all they asked to see is his birth certificate. That's it. He refused to show him this birth certificate, so I wouldn't give him this ass an extension either.
Yeah. Yeah, BJ, I hate to tell you, man, but their window is closed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, but he's a restricted free agent. He's not unrestricted. So even if he goes and finds another deal, if Phoenix really wants him, all they have to do is match the deal.
Will
I don't
they though?
think
Will
they
they
really
match
want
it? Yeah.
And I actually applaud Phoenix. I'm tired of all these because we was talking about max contracts and Bradley Beal. I'm tired of all these players getting max contracts that don't deserve it. They don't deserve 50. Where on what universe, planet, whatever we live on, does Bradley Beal? And I'm not saying he's the worst because he's better than a lot of these guys. But he doesn't deserve Steph Curry money. He's not in that category.
It's in the rules. It's in the rules.
I know it's in the rules, and you like you mentioned earlier, Big Reg. You pay what someone is willing to pay. You get
You're
get
worth what
someone is
someone's
But you have the
willing to
leverage
pay.
willing to pay you. But I
Yeah.
just don't feel. It has to stop, man. It's just
Like
everyone's
Bradley Beal has balled out the last 3 seasons better than a whole lot of guys in the
whole
league.
lot.
but they ain't got nothing to show
in
for
this
it.
market, I think he deserves everything that he's about to get because he could have bolted a long time ago, but he showed that
Long
Dame
time ago.
Lillard loyalty and he stayed.
Mhm.
He re-upped and now he's getting
What do they
the
have
fruits
to
of
show
their
for
labor.
it?
So
They
I
have
don't
nothing to show
blame him
for it.
for it. I think he deserves it. I do.
Oh yeah, especially like if you know your team is not going anywhere, like postseason.
He's one of the
wise.
most disrespected players in the league. He is, and he balls every single night.
So we will see some of the other big names out there. Is somebody going to offer the reigning champions role players big money? Kevin Looney is an unrestricted free agent. Otto Porter Jr. is an unrestricted free agent. Gary Payton II is an unrestricted free agent. Now, GP2 needs to cash in. He's like 29, getting ready to turn 30. He ain't no young dude anymore. And if somebody's going to offer him $8 to $10 million
You think Golden State will be willing to part?
for $8 to $10 million for Gary Payton, yeah. We got these young dudes on the bench that one of them could take that spot. We can't pay him because for Golden State to pay him, they would end up paying to use round numbers. If they pay Payton $10 million, they end up paying $30 million in luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $40 million a year for Gary Payton.
He ain't as bad.
All I can say is dynasty.
Sure ain't.
All
And
I
it
can
ain't-
say
and
is
it-
dynasty.
Stop. I hope they lose next year.
Dynasty. That's all I'm saying.
I hope they lose next year. All this trash talk with Draymond and Steph and all, and everybody want to stick their chests out and
Hey,
talk
sis,
smack.
man, we talked about hate earlier, man. Let's break it down.
No, ain't no hate. I'm just saying, Draymond get sick of this.
Yeah, some sneaky people to see where they end up signing. PJ Tucker, because they say he's leaving Miami. JaVale McGee. If JaVale goes back home for the veteran minimum and goes back to Golden State
Lord Jesus.
and give him that young, big, not young, but older, big, lively body that they were missing,
He still
bye-bye, Looney.
Yeah.
Big
Man,
Oladipo.
don't let Looney go, man. I like
No, I'm
Looney.
saying
Looney
it's
played
just like
hard.
it's just like how them Cleveland championship players got paid after they won that championship. I don't think it's the same thing. You know how Dellavedova got his bag and all these other role players.
That's a blast from the past. That was wasted money right there.
Exactly.
He thought
I
he
don't
was
think they would've made
Caruso.
the same mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. So we'll touch on them next week. So get your popcorn ready. Free agency. You'll start hearing deals as early as 6 p.m. on Thursday
they'll get younger, BJ. They've already started.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. We good over here. Worry about your Clippers or whoever you root for this week.
All right. You can't be
coming out blazing.
You can't be arguing with the listeners now. Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
It's all love, BJ.
I feel your pain though, since I do. We got
We're
Kenny
gonna be
Pickett.
all right. You got
feel
to
you.
have hope, man. You got to have hope for your squad. You know, with Pittsburgh, it's not always sunny days.
Why he had to
Not
drag
always
you into
sunny
this?
days. But you hold on.
Bring. I can handle it, Big Red. I can handle it.
But you hold on. We can
I
relate.
feel you. I understand where you're coming from. I understand.
Yes. Thank you.
I hear you. All right, on that note, it is time for us to get a segment that we haven't had in a while. It's good to have the professor back, and time for the professor's post takes. It's all you, Professor.
All right, fellas, let's keep that energy going. All right, so this week I have an ode to summertime sports. So I know what you're thinking. What in the world could he tell me about what happens during the summer in sports? It's pretty much just boring old baseball with a sprinkle of other sports here and there. Well, let me set you and the record straight. MLB is anything but boring these days, and have you checked out the College World Series lately? Both men and women? Probably not. Some are too busy snoozing to notice that the University of Oklahoma women just completed a dominant season in softball and won it all in domineering fashion. The men have heated up and they have served up their champion, as we heard earlier from Ole Miss. Can you believe that the Fighting Irish even made an appearance as well? So wake up. If that isn't enough, then maybe one of the moonshots by Stanton or Judge from the Bronx Bombers will come down and land on your noggin. The boys of summer are truly heating up. Even the arbitrations concerning some of the best in the league are entertaining. Congrats, Mr. Judge, for holding the Yankees' feet to the fire to get your way. And just to tease you a bit more, the hottest team in MLB just pulled off a great comeback against the Oakland A's last night. Tough break for Bryce Harper, who has already and was having an MVP caliber season. Man, I do miss him in Washington. He may need surgery on his left thumb that was hit by a 97-mile-per-hour pitch over the weekend. He is a trooper and should be back in several weeks. Not sure where Philly will be in the standings at that time, but they had plenty of firepower with Realmuto and Castellanos. I know we have been watching the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs and finals, and there have been quite a few drops of the gloves and knuckles in incidents. But did you see the melee between the Mariners and Angels? Okay. It may not be an MMA contest, but still entertaining. MLB handed down 12 suspensions because of it. Now that I have your attention,
thrown in that.
huh?
There was some real blows thrown in that one. That
Yeah,
wasn't a typical baseball fight.
It was. It's entertaining. I advise people to look it up. Now that I have your attention, who said that the NBA takes a backseat after the finals? This will never happen with people like Kyrie Irving always finding a way into the headlines. Are we surprised with his drama and of one KD, Kevin Durant? Somehow, he does more off the court than on it. He has opted into his $36+ million contract after it became apparent that nobody really wanted Mr. Flat Earth. Can we even get past the Lakers drama? We have not properly celebrated the Doves, and everyone is talking about next season. What's that? You still talking trash about me about the summer? Are you paying attention to Wimbledon? The Queen is back, and she just got overthrown. But just like Tiger, it does not matter if she wins it all. The people will still show up. Does Nadal and Djokovic mean anything to you? The competition is better, and the interest is at fever pitch. So just tune in. You aren't doing anything else. Don't tell me that nothing noteworthy happens during the summer when we still deal and address with racism and bigotry in every sport. Yet again, Formula One racing and Lewis Hamilton have to stand front and center and condemn hatred. Let's expose three-time Formula One world champion Nelson Piquet for the low-down racist he is. He used a racial slur on a podcast following his description of Hamilton after his famous collision with rival Max Verstappen in last year's British Grand Prix. Interestingly enough, Verstappen is dating Pickett's daughter, Kelly. Check out the smile on Baker Mayfield's face these days. He looks like a man that knows something we do not. He is the cat that ate the mouse and got caught, but still grins. So stay tuned. I can do this all day, but I will leave you with this. Every summer, we may not be filled with the drama of one of our best being detained in Russia, but there's always something of substance that does not have to be mindful. Let's keep Brittany Griner in our thoughts and prayers. Let's put politics aside and bring her home peacefully. She does not need to continue to be a pawn in this sadistic game outside of the basketball court. Clearly, you all can see that when we talk about the boring summer of sports, that is not the case anymore. We have a plethora of sports channels and publications that keeps us enthralled. Social media is constantly blowing up with developments, and just a few follows, including posts, will get you all the fix you ever need. Let's keep going. Back to you, fellas.
Appreciate that, Professor. It's been a while since we had a take. That was a good one. I enjoyed that one.
Thank you, sir.
All right, fellas, it is that time. Another show is down, but before we get out of here, we got to get our final post in. J3, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, real quick. If anybody's not doing anything on Saturday morning, why don't y'all meet us out at Mount Vernon and go for a bike ride? We're going to get in at least 12 miles. Come out and check us out.
As long as the weather cooperates. Professor, you up?
Yeah, I'm going to just say I love you guys. I love all of our viewers and friends and family out there. Just want to remind you guys to please stay safe. COVID is not gone. It's still rearing its ugly head. And just be diligent, stay prayed up, and just continue to support each other.
Since
Second in that emotion of my bro cuz, also just wanted to keep that same energy as he did as far as summer sports go, and just say that we have NBA Summer League coming up next weekend, actually with the first game this Saturday, the Las Vegas Classic between the Heat and the Lakers. So
any Lakers prospects? I do.
Yes,
My
Lakers
man.
prospects.
My man said that stink.
They still stinking it up.
They are not. Hey, but we still on your mind and in your mouth.
They don't have any money, so they need to pull some of them.
y'all are funny. Y'all are
Yeah,
funny.
okay.
Big Ed,
Keep
what's
laughing
going
in
on?
June. But go ahead.
No, just again, good to see you guys. Thankful for being here. I truly look forward to seeing some of our people out there make comments and hearing what our opinions on sports. They never quite agree with opinions of your opinion, Big Reg, and my opinion, since Professor J3, J Wills. We all have our own ideas and thoughts, but that's what makes it fun. So thank you guys. See you next week.
And I'd like to end my final post by shouting out some of the female goats. As we mentioned before, the great Serena Williams, after being out for over a year, came back to Wimbledon, unfortunately lost. But we need to appreciate these women. In the view of Title IX, these are some of the greatest women who've ever stepped onto a court, basketball court, field, that we've ever seen, that we get the pleasure of watching them do their work. And this is history making. This may have been the last time that Serena Williams ever plays at Wimbledon. So if you have a chance, I think she's going to play the U.S. Open. If you can get to New York, you might want to do that because it might be the last time you've seen her. Because I believe the Williams, unlike a lot of people, they will never mention that they retired. They just won't be playing anymore. Just like her big sister Venus hasn't played in almost 2 years. On that same vein, some of the greatest players in WNBA history have announced their retirement. Sue Bird, catcher this year with the Seattle Storm before they gone. You have Big Sylvia Fowles for having the brain for a second. But Sylvia Fowles, one of the best big post players ever in the WNBA all-time rebounder. She's announced that this is going to be her last year. And the great Candace Parker has hinted that this may be her last season, as she's already started to move herself into the studio phase.
TNT.
So if you get a chance to check out some of these great women as they're here to appreciate their greatness, please check them out. Because in the Post crew, we always support women's sports. And we
Yes,
always
sir.
will. All right, we'd like to thank you all
Amen.
for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. for our live show. You can check us out on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, streaming. We're here. If for some reason you can't catch the show live, again, go to those same platforms. We post all the shows, or you can go to your favorite podcast platform and check them out there. And starting last week, you will even start seeing some of posts coming to a new social media platform. What we hitting, Professor? TikTok. So we're coming to TikTok. So look out for us. We're gonna do our thing. Coco Golf had a good battle today. Absolutely. So again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate the opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please check us out next week. Tell your friends and family members about you, and we'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Be safe out there. Peace.
God bless.
Go Lakers.
Have a safe weekend, everyone.